Yeah, let me do it again. So we are going to discuss today about Pega BPM. Related to Pega BPM, you have any questions? We will discuss during the demo. So after we complete this demo, we will be having more 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes to look at your questions. Maybe those questions related to market, those questions related to certifications, questions related to opportunities in other countries, India. So this and all, there might be some other questions that you might have in your mind. So all these questions will be covered after the demo. So during the demo, any time you have to ask the questions only which is related to what we have covered, no deviation. Okay, and let us go ahead and start our Pega BPM demo. So before we start, what we are going to cover in this demo is we are going to cover what is Pega, what is BPM, why Pega is BPM. So these three questions will be clarified after this demo gets completed. So it will take around 1 hour 15 minutes. So before we proceed to understand and look at what is Pega, what is BPM, why Pega is BPM, let's go ahead and just name the tools which are called as BPM tools. So Pega is a BPM tool. Pega is a BPM tool. You would have heard about this outside, okay, somewhere. You would have read in the website, many places. Pega is a BPM tool. First of all, what are the BPM tools available in today's market? Okay, first let's go ahead with Pega, and you tell me what are the BPM tools that you know. Blades, Cordis, you can just name some of the tools that you heard about. What else? So TIPCO partial BPM and IBM BPM, correct? IBM BPM, Oracle BPM, APN. What else? There are many other tools. So like in today's market, you have many number of BPM tools available, and number of BPM tools are available. So Pega is a BPM tool, Blaze is a BPM tool, Cordis, TIPCO, IBM BPM, Oracle BPM, APN, and we do have Activity. So like this, many BPM tools are there. So coming to, suppose you take .NET. What do you call this one? .NET. Is it a BPM tool? Then what it is? It's a technology. Okay, and now Java is an object oriented technology. Okay, coming to mainframes, is it a technology? Then mainframes is an environment on which COBOL is being used to program the things. Okay, and coming to C language, what do you call? It's a high level programming language. Okay, so like this, each one falls under some category. Okay, .NET Java under object oriented, mainframe is something else, and C language is something else. So whereas all these Pega, these are called Blaze, Cordis, these are called BPM tools. If you take suppose Salesforce is what, under which category it comes? CRM. Salesforce is a CRM tool. So each one is categorized based on their characteristics. Okay, so that means all these tools, whatever that we have seen here, Pega, Blaze, Cordis, IBM BPM, Oracle BPM, all these tools should have the same characteristics. That's why they fall under BPM category. All these two should have same characteristics. This should have its own characteristics. This should have its own characteristics. CRM should have its own characteristics, and like that, other CRM tools, Salesforce, like they should fall under same characteristics categories. So that's why they are called the respective CRM, BPM, high level language, middle level language, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what is Pega BPM. And before this Pega BPM, again one more thing what we need to know is, what is Pega used? before we proceed forward to look at the demo, first of all, I would like to give you a brief idea about what is Pega used for. Just on top basic idea. What is Pega used for? So what do you know about it? What it is used for? So I'm asking a question online, guys, or offline resources. What is Pega used for? You have any information that you have gathered already? Anyone has any information on this? Hmm? No, I am asking exactly where do you see Pega? That's what I mean to ask you. What is Pega used for? So I will tell you, Pega is used to develop web applications. Pega is used to develop web applications. So it is specifically meant for developing certain kind of business process applications. Business process applications. So I'll give you just a basic idea. Okay, what type of applications that we call a business process applications. Suppose you go to an ATM center. Okay, when you go to an ATM center, you want to deposit a check in an ATM machine. So you are going to insert the check in the ATM machine. Once you insert the check inside an ATM machine, the check will be scanned. There will be a scanner inside. It will take the front and back copies of the check scanning and convert into some file format. Then it will take that file, suppose text file, it will convert to text file. It will take the text file and FTP and transfer this file to some application. There is one application in the background. That application reads the content of this check and do the accordingly validations and all, and then process the check for the disbursement. So this application, what you see there in the back end, that is a Pega application. And I'll tell you another two examples. Suppose you are looking for a insurance policy. In India, what happens? Suppose there is an insurance agent. Insurance agent is going to visit you. He is going to collect all your details on a document, and he is going to collect the required documents from you. Once he collects all these documents, so like this agent, we have many number of agents, those who are going to collect all the documents from the customers. So these people submit all these documents, whatever that they have collected. Each application they will submit it to one of the centralized department. Once they submit to the centralized department, in the centralized department, there will be someone else sitting. They will open an application. They will do the data entry and send it for the necessary approvals, necessary validations, necessary reviews and all. So after all the reviews are completed, after all the validations are done, and after all the approvals are being done, you will get an insurance policy. Okay. So the application which is going to do all this kind of processing in the background, really those applications we do not interact. We never interact with a check processing application. We never interact with an application which is going to process insurance policy completely for you. And suppose you take a banking system. In a banking system, suppose you are going to deposit money. When you deposit money, so that money will not be credited to your account immediately. So there are certain conditions. There is someone else who has to open an application inside bank. So those people have to post the amount that you have done. So whatever the transaction that you have done, the transaction has to be posted. That will be accessed by manager of the bank. Even check also same kind of stuff. Like sometimes if the check exceeds certain limit of amount, that has to go through the manual process. So manager has to pass the check, post the check, then it will be disbursed. So those applications which are being accessed by the business people, means to say the employees of the organization, those kind of applications you see in Pega, those are developed. So to develop these kind of applications, you can consider an ATM application. So an ATM application, suppose even though it is being accessed by people like us, there will be a lot of processing in the background. So these kind of applications are being developed using Pega PRPC. Okay, so there are certain applications. Suppose you take applications like IRCTC, Book My Show, and retail e-commerce applications. These applications can be developed in Pega. These are also web applications. Pega is used to develop web applications like this, but we don't develop these applications in Pega. There are certain reasons with respect to cost effectiveness and with respect to the user interface that is being provided by Pega PRPC. That you will be learning whenever we start the classes. Okay, so that kind of applications you will never choose Pega. To develop applications like Book My Show, IRCTC, and I can tell you like Flipkart applications, Amazon applications, Paytm applications. These applications we can develop using Pega, but we do not choose Pega to develop these kind of applications for the reasons being cost effectiveness and the user interface provided by Pega is not suitable. Okay, Pega is specifically developed for business processing applications like check processing applications, insurance processing applications, healthcare research applications, healthcare insurance providing applications like this. Only those applications which are being accessed by the business employees of an organization, Pega is suitable. Okay, Pega is the one which can be chosen in these sectors, but still you can develop e-commerce applications, other types of applications as well, but we don't because of these two reasons. Okay, so throughout this demo you need to keep this is just a background I would like to give before we start our demo. Okay, so throughout this demo you need to keep in your mind that Pega is used to develop web applications. Okay, everyone clear with this? Anyone has any questions? So you are not even required to bother about the sectors where it is being used. Just throughout the demo you need to keep in your mind Pega is used to develop web applications. So far anyone has any doubt, any question that you want to ask me? Okay, I need your response always. If you're not going to respond on mic, you can still use GoToMeeting chatting window. We'll make it interactive. It's not that something I'm going to speak out and you're just going to listen to it. Jagadish Gargi, Nirosha Vijay Kumar, all of you. Okay, fine. Yeah, Nirosha, I am not able to hear you. No problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our demo. So it will take 1 hour from now to complete the demo session. Okay. So we have discussed like Pega is a BPM tool. IBM has its own BPM. Oracle has its own BPM. Appian is there in the BPM tools. Cordis is there. Blaze is there. Like this, many BPM tools are available. Why all these tools are BPM tools? Why Pega is a BPM tool? To understand that, before we proceed to Pega PRPC, we have to know.
Harsha?
Yes, someone is asking something.
One question.
Yes.
What makes Pega better than other BPM tools?
We will discuss in the demo only about that.
Okay.
So now, see, Pega is a BPM tool. Before we proceed and look at why Pega is BPM and all, we have to understand first of all what is BPM. Okay, so let's go here. The first slide. So here you have 13 slides. Slide 1 to slide 13. Slide 1 to 7. We are going to discuss about what is BPM and what are the characteristics of BPM. Slide 8 to 13. It's about Pega. Okay. So now coming back to first slide. BPM definition. BPM stands for Business Process Management, which provides the ability to have end-to-end visibility and control over all parts of a multi-step transaction that spans multiple applications and people in one or more organizations. This is the definition of BPM. We are going to understand now in detail about this definition. So out of this, first of all, what do you mean by transaction? You can tell me now, what do you mean by a transaction? You all know answer for this. In general, how would you like to define a transaction? Okay, how do you like to define a transaction? Okay, I am going to tell you now. Okay, whatever that you told is correct. Now, a unit of work that you are going to complete end to end, That is called a transaction. Suppose we go to a bank. When I go to a bank, suppose I want to deposit money, I want to withdraw money, I want to transfer money from one place to other place. So if I deposit money, I'm going to say that I have done a deposit transaction. If I withdraw money, I have done a withdrawal transaction. So all this, if you consider, this is a specific unit of work that you are going to deal with, that you are going to complete from starting to ending without any interruption, in a successful way or unsuccessful way, whatever it is. So a unit of work that you are going to do in a business is called as a transaction. Okay. So what do you mean by a multi-step transaction? So let's go to slide 5. So the slide 5 just represents money withdrawal process from an ATM using an ATM application. So that has been defined in the form of a flow diagram. So in a BPM, every work that you are going to implement, ultimately it has to be defined or designed like a workflow diagram. This is called flow chart. This is called flow diagram, or you can call it as a workflow. So this is the final architecture of your work that you are going to implement in a BPM. So now this diagram represents money withdrawal process from an ATM machine. ATM application starts and you are going to give the card number and PIN number, and it will be verified, and if everything is matching successfully, it is going to give you the money, and finally the transaction completes. Suppose if something is not matching, so transaction will get completed unsuccessfully. Okay. So in this flow chart, see here the work of money withdrawal process has been designed in the form of a flow diagram, and there are multiple steps involved in the work. So at each and every step, you or application is going to perform a task. At the first step, application is going to perform a task of displaying you a welcome screen. At the second step, it is going to ask you, take the input. Application is going to take the input from you. You are going to interact with the application, and you are going to provide the input to the application of your card number and PIN number. So at the third step, the task that the application is performing is verifying all the details. Card number, PIN number is correct, enough funds are there and everything. At the fourth step, it is going to process it. Whatever that you are going to request, that will be processed. So at each and every step, a specific task is being performed by either by you or either by the application. So all these tasks that you are performing, everything has been given in a single unit of single flow diagram, that is called one workflow diagram, or you simply call it as a flow chart. So this entire transaction on its way of representation, I am going to represent a transaction in the way of flow chart by using a flow chart. So on its way of development representation, which has been divided into multiple steps, at each and every step you or application is going to perform a task. This is the meaning of multi-step transaction. Multi-step transaction means a transaction that has been divided into multiple steps on its way of development representation of as a flow diagram. At each and every step, either you or application is going to perform a specific task. So on the successful completion from start to end, your transaction is completed. So like this, your transaction will be divided into multiple steps in a BPM application development. It is with respect to development I am going to talk about it. This is clear? Anyone has any questions? Okay. So this is what the meaning of multi-step transaction. So the other one, what do you mean by which provides the ability to have end-to-end visibility and control over all parts of a work that you are doing? Multi-step transaction means entirely to the work. So what do you mean by providing the ability to have end-to-end visibility and control over the work that you are going to do? So let's take any project. You take any project. What is the kickoff for a project? Means the starting phase of a project. Those who are already working in IT can answer this question. What is the starting phase? With respect to development client, I am a development client. What is the starting phase of an application? Requirements. First you have to hear the requirements from the client. Once you hear the requirements, you will just go ahead and look at the capacity and all the things, and you are going to start your analysis. Starting the analysis done. Okay, next design phase. Design, development, unit testing, and then QA testing, and it will go to finally live environment. So like this, there are different phases involved in the application development. From requirements to complete development. Once you done the development, application is going to live environment. Once application is there on the live environment, you should be able to run your business. So you say that your project is completed. Okay. So here, after you complete that live environment, moving to live environment, application is being used for actual business purpose by the business users. Suppose my application has been deployed to live environment and I have done almost 1 month business. Okay, suppose let's consider it is a banking application. Okay, so after 1 month business has been done, I have a requirement now. Now business has come up with a requirement. The requirement is like business would like to know what are all the deposit transactions done so far this month. What are all the deposit transactions done which are failed? What are all the withdrawal transactions done? What are all the new accounts created in this month? What are all the new personal accounts created? What are the new corporate accounts created this month? Like this, they have different types of requirements now they come up with. So if I want to fulfill these kind of requirements in any technology, with your knowledge you can answer this question. So if we have any requirements like this in a business, what are the tools that we are going to use in order to implement this kind of requirements? What tools we can use? I'm asking a question to you. What do you call those tools? What are those tools? We call it as, okay, I'll tell you then. So those tools are called as reporting tools. I want to generate a report out of the existing business that what are the deposit transactions done. So these are called in general ETL tools: extraction, transformation and loading, like this. So the reporting tool, suppose your application is developed using Java, you need to go for a reporting tool. You will go for what are the tools available? Tableau, QuickView, and the tools like what are the other ETL tools available? OBIE, something like this. You have ETL tools. Suppose your application is developed using .NET, then you will go for an ETL tool like MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence. Okay, so like this, when you develop an application, from requirements to complete development phase you are done and your application is deployed to production. After that, there is one more phase of reporting. So that phase you want to if you want to achieve in other technologies, you need to go for third-party vendors to buy the ETL tools, reporting tools. But while coming to BPM, so that reporting is also being included in the same environment as you are going to develop your application on the same environment. That means providing the end-to-end solutions for your application. BPM is a platform on which you can do the things from requirement phase to complete development, deployment and everything is done, plus reporting is also included, including versioning also you'll do on the same environment. So plus reporting. So this is the meaning of providing the end-to-end solutions for your application completely from requirement phase to reporting phase. So everything is available on the in the same tool of BPM. This is clear. That is what meant by providing the ability to have end-to-end visibility and control on the work that you are going to do. So you have the control on the work from requirement phase to complete reporting phase. So this is clear, everyone? Anyone has any questions? Any doubts? Everyone clear? Okay, so let's go ahead and proceed forward now. So we have got an understanding of what is transaction. Transaction means a unit of work that you are going to complete. Multi-step transaction means in a BPM, your transaction will be designed in such a way that to have multiple steps in it in the form of a workflow diagram where each and every step is going to, our system is going to perform a task. And we have understand what do you mean, what is meant by providing the end-to-end solutions, means from requirement phase to complete reporting phase. These 3 points we have got an understanding. So now what do you mean by spanning multiple applications and people in one or more organizations? First of all, what do you mean by spanning multiple people in an organization? So let's take any application development. In an application, you have different people hands-on involved. Like you need a developer, you need a tester, you need a manager, you need a business analyst to interact with an application, you need finally a user, real end business user wants to interact with the application. Suppose you are going to log in as a developer into application, the same application you are going to log in as user. So both of you will have, both of you see the same things or different things. Like a developer, when he is going to log in, he should be able to create the code. He should be able to modify the code. He should be able to modify the application behavior. This and all he can do. A user, when he is going to log in, what happens? He can only access the application. When a business analyst log into the application, he can access the tools which are required for gathering the reports, gathering the requirements. When a manager is going to log in, a manager can access the application, a manager can approve the tasks, but a user cannot, a developer cannot. So like this, each different login has different levels of access. Spanning multiple people in the sense, on a BPM environment, you can span multiple people, means you can span multiple, you can create multiple logins which are going to have different access levels. On the same environment, you are creating different login IDs with different levels of access that is being provided on a BPM environment. This point is clear, everyone? Spanning multiple people in the sense, you're going to the environment is going to allow you to create different logins with different levels of accesses defined. This is clear? Now, what do you mean by spanning multiple applications? Yeah, I'm going to explain once again. Someone is asking spanning multiple people. Spanning multiple people in the sense, on an application, you are going to create a login, different logins with different levels of access. Suppose, simply I'll give you an example. I'm going to create two different logins. One login is for employee, one login is for manager. Okay, I have to assign them with different access levels. So where it is getting differentiated is, an employee can submit a leave request using an application. Manager also can submit a leave request. Now manager can see a tool, a place where he can see the tasks which are pending approval. He can approve the task, he can reject the task. But this is not available to an employee. An employee will not be provided with an access of approval or rejection. This kind of access is not there for an employee, but it is there for manager. Okay, so like this, different logins you can create with different levels of access. Are you clear now? That is what meant by spanning multiple people. Am I clear? Okay, fine. So let's go ahead and look at what do you mean by spanning multiple applications. This one I'm not going to explain you in detail. I'll just give you a brief, just on top idea. So spanning multiple applications in the sense, you are going to, yes, correct, on the same environment, different logins with different access levels that you need to understand. Okay, so spanning multiple applications. Spanning multiple applications means you are going to design your application architecture. BPM is going to allow you to design your application architecture to have framework and implementations. Framework and implementation. What do you mean by framework and implementation? Just let's go ahead and look at it just to get a basic idea about it. Okay, framework and implementation means, look at here, this is framework, this is bank. Okay, in a bank I have two departments. This is bank, and this one is accounts, and this one is loans department. Okay, so here we're going to call bank as a framework, and this we call it as implementations. This we call it as implementations. Okay, so now a person who is going to, just imagine it physically. Suppose I am going to a bank. So a person who is going to request for an account, bank account, or a person who is going to request for a loan account, both of these guys have to commonly fill a customer form. Customer details, basic details you need to provide. Whether you need a bank account, loan account, you need to fill a basic customer form where in which it is going to have ask you basic customer details like first name, last name, your address, your PAN card number or SSN number or respective ID proof, whatever it is. So now here these two are called as implementations and bank is called as a framework. Suppose you need a user customer form. If I make the customer form available within the department of only accounts, that will not be accessible to loans. Okay, if I make the customer form available only in the loans department, that will not be accessible by accounts department. So commonly if these two people, both of these departments wants to access this form, then where should I keep it? Where should I keep it? I want accounts department as well as loans department to commonly access a form called customer form. Where should I keep that form? I should keep it in framework, that is called bank. So your customer form is available within the bank, that is the framework, that is a reusable layer. You call it as reusable layer in an organization. So if you're going to keep anything at the reusable level, then that can be easily be shared across multiple departments. Suppose in future I am going to add one more department. So here is another department which I am going to add. This is called as suppose insurance department. So if you're going for an insurance account also, you have to fill the same details. So now, do I have to go ahead and create a new form for the insurance which is going to define the customer details, or I can use the same from the bank? I can use the same form. I can use the same form because it is the basic customer details. Any customer looking at any department for any kind of account, everyone will have the same departments they have to submit, same details they have to submit. So like this, you will be provided in a BPM, you will be provided with an environment wherein which you are going to you can design your application in such a way that it can have the framework layer and multiple implementation layers. So it is going to make ease of your development for future enhancements. Future, if I am going to add one more department, I am not required to create that. I can directly use it. Like this, you're going to identify the common functionalities across multiple implementations, put it under a framework, and the specific functionalities of accounts, loans and insurance you will put under the specific implementations. So this is what meant by spanning multiple applications. BPM provides an environment on which you can design your application in such a way that it can have framework design as well as implementation design, so allowing you to extend your application functionalities easily without recreating the things again and again. So that kind of development facility is available on a BPM environment. Is it clear? This is what meant by spanning multiple applications. Everyone clear about it? Okay, fine. So let's go ahead now. So look at here. So far we have understand about what is a transaction. It's a unit of work, multi-step transaction that we are going to represent in the form of a flow diagram, wherein which it is going to have multiple steps. At each and every step you are going to perform a task. Providing the end-to-end visibility means end-to-end solutions from requirement phase to reporting phase. BPM is going to provide an environment on which you can do the things from requirements to reporting. Spanning multiple people means it is going to provide an environment on which you can create different logins with different levels of access. Spanning multiple application means it is going to give you an environment wherein which you can have your application architecture designed in such a way that it can have framework and implementation. So ease of extendability is being provided to your application. So by providing all these things, BPM is going to manage the way that your business have to be processed. So this tool is going to now, by providing all these things, the tool is going to manage the way that your business have to be processed. That is what meant by business process management. So everyone clear with this? Any questions, any doubts, anything you did not understand? So everyone online. Gargi, Jagadish, Nirosha, Vijay. Anyone has any questions? So good to go ahead. We'll go ahead with the next slide. Fine. Let's go ahead. Now, so this is about BPM. Now coming to the next slide. What is the difference between traditional application development and a BPM application development? So this one also we are not going to see in depth. You will not understand at this level of with this knowledge you cannot understand. Okay. So I'll give you a top basic idea about what is the difference between traditional application development and a BPM application development. So in a traditional application development, let's take any object-oriented programming technology. So wherein which you're going to have user interface defined in a designed in a user interface layer, business logic layer, and data manipulation using a data layer. Like this, you are going to provide entire architecture for your application development. So like UI layer, logic layer and data layer. So all these three things will be available. Suppose if you're going to type a URL www.hdfcbank.com, first you will be redirected and you are going to hit user interface layer. It will come to HTML. From UI it will go to business logic it will go to data layer back to logic back to UI. This is the way that your request will be processed. So coming to BPM also you'll be having all these three things. BPM also you're going to design the UI in a UI layer and define the logic, and you can manipulate the data. Apart from these three, you're going to have one more thing called process. That process is called, here we have already discussed, workflow. So just on top you need to understand what is the difference between traditional application development and BPM application development is UI logic data plus process. So anything you create UI logic data, you need to integrate into your process. So here in the workflow, first step I am integrating UI with a welcome screen. Second step I am integrating a UI which is going to accept the input from the customer. Third step I am going to integrate a logic wherein which it is going to validate all the things, take a decision appropriately. Fourth step I am going to call a logic wherein which it is going to do some processing. Fifth step I am going to display some completed screen, something like that. So like this, anything that you create in a BPM, you will create UI logic and data, plus you are going to create a workflow diagram like this and integrate into your workflow. Okay, so just for a basic to give you a basic idea, I am going to log into existing application. Do not bother about anything about this tool that I am accessing. We will be learning this later. Oh, what happened today? Okay. Just I'll show you that later. Let me proceed forward. I'll show you that later. So now here you go ahead. So like this you're going to create. So what is the difference if you want to say just in one word? So apart from UI logic and data layers, you will be having one more thing called process. So what do you mean by a process? Process is a unit of work that we have already discussed. Process is a unit of work that can be completed either by acceptance or rejection. What is the exact meaning of this? Suppose I am going to do a money withdrawal transaction from an ATM machine. Okay. So for the first time when I have done, I got the money and money has been debited from my account. So transaction is completed. So now I am going to ask a question. Second transaction I am doing. Now I did not get the money, but money has been debited from my account. Amount has been debited from my account. Now you tell me, this transaction is completed or not completed? Okay, online. Transaction is completed or not completed? Okay, so we are going to say that it is completed. Suppose let's say it is not completed. So I'll tell you one thing. If something is incomplete, you should be able to resume it again. You should be able to resume. It's not completed means you can again start it from the point where it has been stopped. Suppose if a transaction fails, you will get a transaction ID for that, right? Can you go ahead and resume the same transaction again? Is it possible? No, not possible. That means it is completed or not completed. That is completed unsuccessfully. Completed failed. Completed success. So either of the directions, you say that the transaction is completed. Suppose you are going to resume it, you cannot resume it. So a transaction means it's a unit of work that can be completed. A process is a unit of work that can be completed either successfully or unsuccessfully, by acceptance or by rejection. This is clear, everyone? Anyone has any questions? Any doubts? Okay, now so far what we have seen, we have understand about the BPM definition, and we have got just a basic idea about what is the difference. There is a difference called process in a BPM. What is process? We have got an understanding. So before we start the demo, we have discussed like it is used for application development. If you want to develop applications, you need an environment, definitely. Suppose you want to develop applications using C language. What is the environment you are going to use? What is the environment you are going to use? Turbo C environment. Java, you want to develop applications, you can use Eclipse environment and other environments also available. .NET, you want to develop applications, then you will use Microsoft Visual Studio. Mainframes, you want to develop applications, you can use COBOL environment like this. COBOL coding, some environment will be there, I'm not pretty much sure about it. Okay. Like this, using any technology you want to develop applications, you need an environment that we call it as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Similarly, in a BPM, if you want to develop applications, you need an environment that is called BPM suite. BPM suite is an environment on which you can design, develop and deploy the applications. This is clear? Now, so technically if you want to speak about it, BPM suite is a software system that allows for the direct execution of the business process. Meaning that which is going to allow you to create the things, design the things, develop the things and deploy the things and run the application. All these things. That is what the meaning of this statement. By considering some built-in business rules. BPM suite is an environment on which you can design, develop, deploy and access the applications by considering some built-in business rules. What do you mean by business rule? This is what we need to understand. So what do you mean by a business rule? Think of a business rule as a statement aimed to influence the behavior of a system. So let me give you a real-time example. Suppose I am driving on a car on a road. Okay. Once I see the red signal, I am going to stop before zebra crossing. So now tell me, how do you define that red signal? What is that red signal? What type of rule it is? Red signal is a traffic rule. Red signal is a traffic rule which is being applied on me that is influencing my behavior in the society. Okay. So there is a traffic rule that is being applied on me that is influencing my behavior on the road. Whether I have to stop or I have to proceed forward, I have to wait for some time, something like this. So similarly in a business also you will be having some rules defined. So those rules are going to influence the behavior of your application. So business rule is something which has been applied on a system that is going to influence the behavior of that particular system. Let's take an example. Consider the financial transaction for business process of credit cards. So the simple business rule may be the total amount can due by a customer should not exceed customer's credit limit. Suppose I have a credit card. So my credit card limit is 3 lakh rupees. I went to a purchase center. I have purchased almost 5 lakhs. I am trying to pay the same amount on my credit card. Okay. So now what happens? So transaction has been declined insufficient funds. So now I am going to define here that limit is a rule. That limit is a rule that is applied on my card that is influencing the behavior of your credit system. Credit system, how it has to behave for a specific card is being defined by a business rule called limit. So like this in a business there will be n number of business rules. We will talk about only the limit. Like this n number of limits will be there for different cards. So now business rule is there in a business that is going to influence the behavior of the business system. Now where this business rule is going to reside, where this business rule is going to be taken from. So consider limit. Is it written on the card? Somewhere printed on card? Then where it is available? It is not printed on the card. So the same card can someone else will have, but their limit is 5 lakhs depending on their criteria. So now where this limit is being residing exactly, that we need to know. Where it will be available? Consider limit. Where it will be available? So where this limit will be taken from? So you consider this 3-layered architecture: UI, logic, data. Where it will, are we going to enter in UI? This is the limit. It will be there defined in a business logic. Then it will be there in database, banking systems, database. This is the card number. These are the details. This is the limit. Whenever you swipe a card, the credit application is going to access the banking systems database to get the credit limit. match it with the amount that you are purchasing. So like this, there will be a number of business rules in a business environment. All the business rules will be residing in a database. That database is called as business rules database. The database is called as business rules database. So in a BPM, you will be having a workflow architecture. This is called process, and you will be having business rules, and you will be having business rules database. These three components are there. Now, see, business rules are there defined and residing in a business rules database. My application is here. So you need to fetch the business rule from the database and bring it to the application. Correct? From business rules database, it has to be taken till the application for the validation purpose. Who is going to perform this task? This task will be performed by a business logic that you need to write. So that is already defined in a BPM system. So that is a program. There will be a program that is going to drive the business rule from business rules database to the till the application in order to complete the task. So this program is a predefined program. This program is called BRE, Business Rules Engine. Business Rules Engine is a software program which drives the business rules from business rules database to the business system in order to complete the task. Okay. So all these things will be there in the BPM. So now coming here, just look at here. So this is BPM, this is Pega. I'll come to Pega later. So in a BPM, so far what we have seen, so it is going to have process. Process means workflow, and the next one is it has business rules defined, and the third one is business rules database where business rules will be staying, and this is called BRD. And what is the fourth one? Business rules engine. Business rules engine, that is called BRE, stands for BR. So all these four components are there in a BPM environment. So from slide 1 to slide 7, whatever we have seen so far about BPM is not a reality, it's a methodology. BPM is a methodology. In the BPM methodology, they told that if your application development environment has to be set as a BPM environment, then it should have all these four components. It should have a process flow architecture defined for processing purpose, and it should have business rules, and it should have business rules database, and it must have a business rules engine which drives the business rules from business rules database to the application. If you're going to maintain these four in your application development environment, then it is said to be a BPM tool. So now Pega Systems has come forward and taken this methodology for the application development purpose, and they have designed a tool. So the tool is going to have all these four components: process, business rules database, and business rules engine. Any vendor like Pega Systems, Oracle is a vendor. Oracle has come forward, adopted BPM methodology for application development purpose. They have designed their own Oracle BPM tool by maintaining all these four predefined components. So like this, any vendor is going to adopt the methodology of BPM methodology and develop their tool for application development, which is going to be used for application development purpose. Then that is called as BPM tool. This is clear, everyone? So now, are you clear why Pega is called BPM, why Appian is called BPM, Cordis, Blaze, Tipco, partially, and what is the other one? Like IBM BPM, Oracle BPM, Activity, all these are BPM tools. What is the reason all these are BPM tools? Because all these are going to follow the BPM methodology, and all these are maintaining workflow architecture, business rules database, and business rules engine predefined program. Okay, so now Pega has developed a BPM tool. Okay, the environment on which you can develop the applications. That environment name they have given is Pega rules process commander. The environment name on which you're going to develop the applications, design, develop, deploy, and execute the applications is called as Pega rules process commander. Everyone clear so far? Any questions? Any doubts? Anyone has any questions? So if someone is going to ask you why it is a BPM tool, you should be able to answer no. Any tool, if they say this is a BPM tool, suppose there is a new vendor came into market saying that it is a BPM tool, you will have a clear idea now why it is a BPM tool. Clear everyone? So now Pega Systems has come forward and adopted the methodology of BPM and developed an application development environment by maintaining process, workflow architecture, business rules database, and business rules engine. The environment entirely they have given a name called as Pega rules process commander. Now you have a clear idea what is Pega BPM, Pega rules process commander. You would have a clear idea. Before this, you would have seen in the web Pega BPM, Pega PRPC. You might be unclear about the things. Now it should be clear to everyone. Okay, Pega rules process commander is an environment on which you can develop the application. This is equal to here the name BPM suite IDE. BPM suite in a BPM generalized name is BPM suite, that here is called as Pega rules process command. Okay, this is clear. So now next slide. So what is Pega rules process commander, and more importantly where does it fit in? Pega rules process command is a revolutionary solution for building business process management systems. It is pretty much straightforward. So Pega has come forward, adopted the methodology of BPM and provided the customers with an environment for application development purpose by adopting the BPM methodology. That is what the meaning of the statement. In other words, it is a comprehensive platform for building and deploying the BPM, CRM, decision management and case management applications. BPM stands for business process management, CRM stands for customer relationship management, decision management and case management works together with your BPM and CRM. So with our application development learning here, we are going to work on Pega BPM, for which we have market. So CRM, considering CRM is a methodology again. So using a CRM methodology, we have many vendors provided the development environments. Out of all these, who is leader in CRM market today? Salesforce is leader in CRM market today. We need to agree. Now, similarly, in a BPM, Pega is a leader in the BPM market. Pega is an emperor in a BPM world. Okay. So there are many tools, but still Pega is number one in BPM market. Why? We will understand going forward. Okay. So because of its faster processing and all. Okay. Error-free processing, faster processing. Okay, and code automation, all these things. Okay, so now Pega is mainly being used across all BPM tools because of the reason of faster processing, error-free processing, easy to develop applications because of its built-in functionalities provided for business. Built-in functionalities are already available. That is the reason why Pega is most widely used. Okay, so now let's go and see now. So with our learning, we are going to talk about decision management, case management together with BPM. Okay, now in other words, it is a process that focuses on automating the work and powerful automation of the program. So what do you mean by automating the work and automation of the program? Automation of the work means in PRPC, the defined work passes through the set of people and set of applications depending on the conditions taken by the process. So let's come back here. This is process. So here you give a correct card number and PIN number. It will be proceeded and give you money and finally ends. Otherwise, without giving the money, it ends. Your work is automated here. You're not required to take a manual decision. Application is going to take an automatic decision of work. So this automation of the work can be done using any technology. It's not a big deal and it's not a great feature here. Okay, now the powerful feature of PRPC is automation of the program. What do you mean by automation of the program? In traditional object-oriented programming, we used to write lots and lots of code to achieve the functionality, but PRPC uses a form-based programming model, and all the logic, all the business required components are built in available in PRPC. Automation of the program means the UI you want to design, the UI is readily available, you can customize it according to your requirement. The business logic is readily available, you can use it and you can customize it according to your requirement. And the database queries will be auto generated in PRPC. Suppose you take any technology, here you will be having all these three as we have discussed: UI and business logic, and what is the other one? DB query. So in PRPC, your user interface has been developed using HTML. Okay, till before Pega 7 version, current version Pega 7 HTML5. So many of the user interface rules are already available. Still, if you want to design your own UI, you need to drag and drop all the things. Controls are readily available. You are not required to write a code. UI is automated with respect to the development. With respect to the development, business logic is also automated using core Java. Suppose you take any technology, you need to write business logic on your own, scratch from the beginning. But when you are using PRPC tool, all the business logic is readily available, written in PRPC tool, you can use it. So now I am going to ask you a question. Is it possible to develop all the business logics which are available across the world, which are required across the world by all the clients? Is it possible? In reality, it is an impossible task. So Pega has done it, let's say 90%, 95%. Still something is pending which can never be done 100%. How come they have achieved this 95%? See, to complete this task of automation of the logic, they worked with n number of clients, different clients, getting the requirements from the clients, improving the tool. To do complete all this process, they have taken almost 36 years. Pega has been started in the year 1983. But when do we know about Pega PRPC? Mostly past 4 years, 5 years. Many of the resources still they don't know what is Pega. We don't hear it like Java.NET, how you heard outside. We don't hear about this tool. But nowadays clients are looking at PRPC tool than your Java applications, .NET applications, are because of the reason your development will be faster because of the automation of the program. When I say program, it's not only business logic. Automation of the UI, automation of the business logic, as well as DB queries will be auto generated. And database architecture also you are not required to define. PRPC defined architecture is available that can be used for your business transactions purpose. You're not again define a business architecture of database with different schemas and all. That design is not required. PRPC automatically handles it. A generalized design is available for PRPC transactional processing. Okay, so that and all in detail you want to learn, you need to get into the subject whenever we are learning Pega. Okay, so just on top to understand, so PRPC provides an automation of the program, meaning that automation of the UI is readily available. Many of the things you can customize it, you can create a new one. Business logic is readily available. To implement this business logic, they have taken almost 36 years working with n number of clients around the world, and so they have achieved a lot. Now if you take PRPC tool since past 4-5 years, it is a stabilized tool with respect to the business implementations. Stabilized in the tool means, suppose you take an application, you have developed an application today, so you are going to move it to live environment. You will get some issues, you will face some issues. What you are going to do? You are going to work on the issues, fix it. Customers will come, they will expect something else, they'll tell you this is what we expect. You are going to introduce that functionality to your application. Like this you are going to introduce. After some years, after 50 years, what happens? Stable application will be stabilized. Same way PRPC environment is also an application to develop other applications where this application is being stabilized in the market with respect to automation of this program by hearing the requirements from different clients since long back, 36 years, almost 30 plus years we can say. Okay, so that's why today clients are choosing PRPC tool because of the reason of automation of the program. Okay, because everything is readily available, I can develop the applications easily, and if at all there is any issue, Pega is there to support me, because I have not written any code on my own. I am using existing. Something fails in existing, Pega systems will support that. Okay, so faster processing it will provide, and error-free processing it will provide, and easy to develop the applications because of the automation of the process. So this and all, like automation of the UI, business logic, DB queries, as Pega has done, other clients have not implemented. This much of automation other clients were not able to provide. That is the reason they are down at the stack. They are bottom at the stack because of the reason of they have not defined all this automation of the programming. So they will take some more time. So till the time they are going to achieve what Pega is now, so Pega can go ahead and move a bit up. Okay, like this, there are competitors in the market for Pega systems, but still they are not able to compete with Pega 100% because of the reason of automation of the program. Okay, everyone clear about it? Anyone has any questions, any doubts in this? Online guys, Vijay, Gargi, Jagadish and Nirosha. Any questions, any doubts? Okay, fine. Everyone clear, right? Okay. Now this is what meant by automation of the program. Because of the reason of automation of the program only, Pega is an emperor in the BPM mode. Now coming to the next slide of, what do you mean? Oh, sorry. Next slide of, what is the architecture of PRPC? How it is been designed? It's a basic architecture, not complete technical architecture. Basic contour. Now, I'm sorry about it. So as we have discussed in BPM, you can have multiple roles created. In Pega also, you can define multiple roles. Okay, different logins with different levels of access. PRPC, we have business rules, and coming to here, as I have told you, in a BPM, generally you call process as a process. Coming to Pega, you call it as a process. Process, here also you call it as workflow. Pega systems has given their own names. Now, business rules are there in BPM. So Pega is said to be a BPM tool, means it should have business rules. Business rules, they have given a generalized name with respect to their own terminology of, what is that? Pega rules. And business rules database, they have given their own generalized name according to their convention is rule base. Business rules database in BPM, well, coming to Pega, it is called as rule base. IBM can give IBM business rules database. Oracle can give Oracle base. Appian can give Appian rule base. Something like that, they can give their own. Okay, and Pega systems has developed business rules engine program. They have given their own name called, what is that? Process commander. Process commander is equal to business rules engine in BPM. So all these are there in the BPM environment in its architecture. Now coming to the architecture, like it has business rules. Business rules will be there in rule base, and business rules engine is called as process commander. And if you divide PRPC into two parts, now look at here. If you divide PRPC into two parts, where is it? Something went wrong. So PR stands for Pega rules. All the rules will be there in rule base. Process PC stands for process commander, which drives the rules from rule base to the application in order to achieve the goal. Clear? So this is what meant by PRPC. So in the architecture, we have business rules. Rules will be there in rule base, and a process commander which is equal to business rules engine in BPM. Now it has a Java compiler. Why we need Java compiler for Pega? Because business logic, I told you, right? Predefined business logic has been implemented using core Java. So for processing that, you need a Java compiler. And it has XML clipboards. It uses XML clipboards. Means the input that you provide to the system, the output that you get of the process commander, everything internally will be converted into XML format. When we are working, I will show you that XML format of data. So it will be converted into XML format of data. Why XML? What is the advantage of XML? So if you know about it, you can answer. What is the advantage of XML? It's a free structured language, and it is more secure on the web. So Pega systems wants to show their clients when the applications are deployed on the web, when the data is flowing within the system, then the data is still secure because it will be converted into XML format, free structured language. This is clear. So PRPC uses XML, and Pega applications you can integrate with your other applications to interact. You can integrate apart from your rule base. You can integrate with third-party databases. You can integrate with third-party applications. My banking application is developed in Pega. Through my banking application, I want to validate a PAN card number or SSN number. I need to communicate with a government department application. So for this communication, you will use web services, different protocols available like SOAP, REST, MQ, COM, COBRA, HTTP, .NET, like these different protocols. So your PRPC environment supports all these kinds of protocols in order to communicate with other applications and other databases on the web. So this is the architecture of PRPC. We have rules, rule base, process commander, different roles of people, and we have a Java compiler, we have XML clipboards, and we can integrate our PRPC application with other applications which are developed in any technology which are available on the web by means of web service protocols. This is about the architecture. The same is been given in words here about the PRPC architecture. So this is about BPM and its characteristics, and Pega and its characteristics, and why Pega is called a BPM tool, or why any BPM tool is called a BPM tool. You have an answer now. Okay, this is clear. Anyone has any questions, any doubts? Okay, so thank you everyone. So this is the demo about Pega and BPM. Any questions you have? Okay, I am not able to hear few of you guys. If you are asking something, I'm not able. You can use GoToMeeting chat window. Vijay, do I have your number here on WhatsApp? Can you give me a WhatsApp message? I don't find you actually on WhatsApp. Vijay joined online. That's why I don't know.